It's a wonderful day. It's a beautiful day. It's a resurrection day. Easter is the celebration of the overcoming and the resurrection of Jesus Christ, yes? But yet, like the teachings of Jesus Christ, this experience holds for us a deep theological, spiritual, and practical significance. If you are familiar with the ministry of Jesus, rarely was what he said simply what he meant. And likewise, rarely was what he went through simply for him to go through. I can hear the master teacher saying that these things that I do and greater things than these shall you do. And so then this Easter experience is an indication that there is an opportunity to celebrate what we see God do in the life and ministry of Jesus, but it's also a practical indication that for those of us who have found ourselves entombed by any experience, there is life beyond that experience. Are you with me? And so the resurrection is yet another reminder that God is always bigger than our problems. There is value in remembering. How many of you know that there is value in remembering that rather than talking to God about our big problem, we ought to talk to the problem about our big God? Jesus said it this way, tell the mountain to move. But you have to understand what's in you in order to have the conviction to tell the challenge to move. Are you with me? And so there is an opportunity to experience this important celebration as an awakening and a raising of ourselves as spiritual beings. Charles Crow said that Easter is the demonstration of God that life is essentially spiritual and timeless. Robert Flatt said the resurrection gives my life meaning and direction and the opportunity to start over no matter what. I say that the resurrection proves that you can put truth in a grave and truth will still rise. But one of the things that we see from the life and ministry of Jesus is that there is a process to the resurrection. What we take away, one of my primary takeaways is that in order to do what Jesus did, you have to do what Jesus did. There is no shortcut. There is no intermediate way around. The only way to get through it is to go through it. Are you with me? And so what I'd like to do in the little bit of time that I'm with you this morning is I'd like to just give you 3 handles on how to consistently experience a resurrection. Y'all don't sound like you believe a resurrection is possible at all. Let me say it to you this way. If you broke, as in you don't have any money, you could use a resurrection in your finances. Let me try it another way. If you want to experience the summer as the summer is coming, but you can't get your body to cooperate, then you can experience a resurrection in your body. Let me try it for my balcony. If the person you dating is dating somebody else, then you could experience a resurrection in your intimate relationships. So is there anybody here who is open to a resurrection? Yeah, I know I'm talking to the right people. Don't play with me. Don't play with me. I know I'm talking to the right people. And so then there is a process that you go through in order to experience the resurrection time and time and time again. You don't have to just wait until Easter in order to experience the resurrection, just like Jesus didn't just wait until the resurrection to resurrect that which was dead. Are you with me? See, when you understand the master teacher, and I don't want to get ahead of myself because this is in my notes, but sometimes you have to do it when the stakes are small. How did Jesus know that he could experience a resurrection for himself? He first tested it on Lazarus. Are you with me? But before we get there, before you get to the resurrection, before you get to the overcoming, before you get to Easter, there are some things that invariably you go through. One of the first things you go through is the trial. Somebody say trial. A trial is a test of the performance or quality or suitability of someone or something. See, a trial is a test. It's testing the degree to which you are ready for the thing that you have been praying for. When there are some species of eagles who, after they have hatched their eggs, they will nurture their eggs until their eaglets are ready to fly. And so the eaglet sees the mother going out by flight and coming in by flight and bringing food back into the nest. And so as the eaglets learn, they are learning by observation how to fly. But then once the instinct of the mother eagle kicks in, she does something interesting. She will come back to the nest, this time with no food, but with only the gravity of her weight. And she will land in her nest that is positioned in the face of the mountainside, and she will begin to move her weight in the nest until there is no more room for the eaglets. Slowly but surely, she just moves them out of the nest. Now, if you're an eaglet, here is the tripped out part. Up to that point, you've only watched your mama fly. And when she pushes the eaglets out the nest, gravity insists that they begin to plummet. Are you with me? And so as they begin to plummet, researchers have discovered that much like people, they experience dread and horror and the imminent possibility of death. And so at this point, mama can't save them while they are falling to their death. But there comes a point in the fall where the eagle figures out what it is. And at a point in the fall, Sandy, the eagle will discover that it has wings. And when the eagle discovers that it has wings, it will open the wings and begin to flap. And when they start to flap, the plummet goes from a plummet to a fall, and then from a fall to a rise. See, there are some things that you can only learn when you go through the trial. And so, like Jesus, the burning fire of the trial is intended to help you understand beyond the shadow of a doubt who you are, but you've got to be willing to open your own wings and start to flap, because they're not coming from the nest to save you. You better be willing to flap your own wings. Are you with me? The challenge for most people, say most people, the challenge for most people when they find themselves going through a trial is that they begin to pray that God will do some removing. You know anybody like that? They're going through the valley of the shadow of death. When they're going through divorce. When they're going through some sort of financial difficulty. When they've discovered that their job is no longer available to them. They pray for God to remove it. But God is not in the business of removing. God is in the business of improving. And so the trial is intended to prove you and improve what it is you're able to do. Are you with me? Put this in your notes. In order to get the most out of your trials, you have to learn how to identify the opportunity that's disguised as adversity. See, the opportunity you have been praying for comes disguised as adversity. See, we just want the good. Right? We just want the fall out of the sky experience. But if we pay attention to the master teacher, there is a trial before the triumph. Are you with me? So then, why is it, Rev, that it doesn't, when we're going through it, why is it that we're not able to identify the opportunity? Why aren't we able to understand that this trial is an opportunity? It happens that the trial doesn't look and feel like an opportunity because it's not intended to reveal itself to you. See, there was a wonderful colleague of mine. Some of the ministers remember him. His name was Maurice Bowens, and he was on the staff here for some time. And he went and took a church in Cleveland. And when he came back home to visit, he was standing right here, and he said to the room, if I had ever known that it was going to be that kind of challenge, I never would have took that church. And then I found the Reverend Coleman said to him, that's why I never told you. Because if you would have known what it was going to be, you never would have done it. See, but the adversity gives you the ability to become someone you would never become, and you can only become it by going through it. There is no way around it. There's only through it. Are you with me? And I know you want God to remove it, but just remember that God is improving it. Right? I know you want out of it as quickly as possible, but just remember there is no way out of it. There is only through it. So ground yourself and tap into what you have so that you can get through it and come out powerful on the other side. I like this quote by Cabot Robert. He said, if we study the lives of great men and women carefully and unemotionally, he said, invariably what we find is that their greatness was tested and developed and revealed through the darker period of their lives. He said, the largest tributary to the river of greatness is the stream of adversity. You have to be willing to go through the trials in order to prove yourself great. That's why you can't get twisted what you see people doing on social media. How many of you know some of them are just faking and fronting? They only show you the best of what it is they're going through. So you have to be willing to identify the opportunity as you're working through the adversity. The next thing you want to be able to use in order to go from trial to triumph, like the master teacher did, is you have to be able to use the truth. Somebody say truth. Now, here is what I mean by truth in this context. I want you to put this in your notes. By truth, I mean that which accords with God as divine principle. By truth, I mean that which is, has been, and forevermore will be. I mean that which you can count on just like you can count on the plus sign. That's what I mean by truth. And so not only do I want you to know about truth, I want you to know how to work the principle the same way Jesus did. See, many of us approach truth from a very different perspective. It reminds me of this story about these two brothers as they were preparing Easter eggs. And the older brother said to the younger brother, I'll give you $10 if you let me smash 3 of these eggs on your head. You know, how many, big brothers are just brutal like that. And so the younger brother said, are you telling me the truth? Do you promise? And the big brother said, absolutely, I'm telling you the truth. I promise if you let me smash 3 of these eggs on your head, I'll give you $10. And so the younger brother said, I agree. Older brother took 2 of the Easter eggs, and one at a time, smashed them on his little brother's head. And the younger brother began to brace himself for the last egg. And the last egg never came. And he said to his brother, what happened to the 3rd egg? He said, well, if I hit you with the 3rd one, it's going to cost me $10. See, most people deal with the truth the same way. We only want to work it when it's convenient and it doesn't cost us anything. See, we only want it when it's easy. Tell me I'm pretty. Tell me I'm smart. Smart, you got to stop doing dumb stuff. Tell me you love me. If I loved you like that, I would come home on time, all the time. Listen, grown-ups only, grown folk talk only. You with me? Let me help you. Pay attention to the signs. Pay attention to the truth of the behavior. Are you with me? I see y'all got uncomfortable right there. Let me keep going. Somebody say, go on, Rev. Mm-hmm. See, as a student of truth, as an adherent of truth, as a follower of Jesus, one of the things that you have to consistently ask and answer for yourself is, what role did I play in how this showed up in my life? See, as a student of truth, as a follower of Jesus, one of the things that Jesus taught was that what is within you is what shows up for you. And so then there is no getting around the truth of what I am demonstrating through what's happening in the way I think and the way I feel. Are you still with me? And so then if I want to experience something better, here is what I must realize. There is a price to be paid for the success of the resurrection. There is a price to be paid. It does not come free. So the question I have to ask myself is, am I willing to pay the price? Am I only going to use it when it's convenient? Will I use it if it costs me something? Let me say it to you this way. Will I use love before I argue? Will I forgive even though this is the 7th time you did it to me? Because come somewhere, he said, in teaching the truth, how many times do I have to forgive this kind of nonsense? Master teacher says, well, I know you say you did it 7 times, and that's good. I want to honor that. That's good. But I want you to forgive it 70 times 7. So here, can I give you something? Can I give you a gift on Easter morning? Yeah. So every time you think of the hurt and the pain, do you feel the same way you felt when it happened to you the first time? If you do, you have not forgiven it 70 times 7. Happy Easter. I just bless you with that. I just bless you with that. So then let's watch the master teacher. Let's watch the master teacher. Let's watch how it is we can use the truth when the stakes aren't as high. Put this in your notes. I can apply the truth when the stakes aren't as high. Because in order to be consistent, you have to learn to be consistent. I don't know about you, but I don't want a car that only starts 50% of the time. I don't want a job that pays me for 2 of the days and makes me do the other 3 days for free. I need consistency in my life. Are you with me? And so in order to be successful and to experience the triumph, you have to pay the price. You have to be consistent. So watch the master teacher. How does it work with the master teacher? How does he go from trial to resurrection, from trial to triumph? Well, one of the first things that he does is before he's ever in the tomb, he's at the party and he turns the water into wine. See, the stakes aren't as high. That's an opportunity to prove the truth that he knows when the stakes aren't as high. What does he do? When he proves that he has the ability to work the truth that he knows, he sees a fig tree that's supposed to give him something. It can't give it to him and he curses it. How many of us are allowing things to stay in our life that we know are not serving their purpose? How many fig trees are supposed to give you figs and they give you nothing but thorns and thistles? If we follow the consistent example of the master teacher, those things are supposed to be cursed and withered up. See, if it can't help you get better, if it can't help feed you, if it can't help you meet your success, if it can't help you move on the resurrection, it's time to wither it up. So when you come to the big experience, you know you can work it because you've already worked it. Are you with me? Yeah. See, no test, no testimony, no trial, no opportunity to demonstrate the truth. So why is it happening to you? It's your opportunity to demonstrate the truth. Mm-hmm. Yep, you don't even have to ask why anymore. It's your opportunity to demonstrate the truth. So then how can you do it? Let me just give you this real quick and we're gonna move. How can you do it? So one of the things that you need in order to consistently do it is a consistent realization. Somebody say consistent realization. Consistent realization. What do I mean by a consistent realization? I mean a deep inner conviction and assurance of the fulfillment of the promise of God. I mean a deep inner conviction and assurance of the fulfillment of the promise of God. When I say deep, I don't mean surface. Right? A surface understanding will not get you the triumph. It will not get you the resurrection. Playing at a surface level will not help you be able to go deep enough when you really need to call on it. See, surface faith will not get it done. If you really want to get the consistent realization, and I'm so happy to see so many of you here today. If you really, applaud, come on, give it up for them. If you want to position yourself to get a consistent realization, show up where they got it going on. Just real talk, just real talk. And here is where I say this from. I say this from a guy who was raised on the low end, standing on corners trying to figure out how to make it until someone taught me how to get a deeper understanding of myself. Someone pointed me back to the truth about myself. Someone helped me to understand that what I was doing wasn't enough. It wasn't demanding enough of myself. I just want to let you know that if you really want it, you got to position yourself with folks who are getting it. Because it requires conviction. It requires a state of being convinced. See, Jesus was clear about what was available for him on the other side of the crucifixion. There was no doubt that on the other side there is resurrection. As a matter of fact, he even taught y'all can do whatever y'all want to do to this body. Before it even went down, y'all can do whatever y'all want to do to this. In 3 days, I'm going to raise it up. He's like, what? You think you have power over me? You are tripping. Do what you got to do. In 3 days, I'm going to raise it up. Right? And so when you have a deep realization, when you have a conviction about who you are and whose you are, what they say does not matter. Yes. See, here is what I learned. Here is what I just learned. Here is what I just learned. Can I share it with you? The closer you get to 50, the less you care about what people say about you. The closer you get, the less you care about what they think. And then here is what's really enlightening. They wasn't talking about you before. They wasn't thinking about you at all. You were just tripping on them tripping when they weren't tripping, which means you were the only one tripping. Yeah. Come on. So then how do you experience the triumph? How do you experience the triumph? The triumph is the victory or achievement. It is the processional entry. See, when you know that you are triumphant, when you know that God has your back, and if God is for you, nobody can be against you, when you know that one with God is a majority, when you know that it's already won before the game even starts, when you know that you got it going on, when it looks like you got it going nowhere, when you just understand what God is, as God is mighty in the midst, then you can experience the triumph even before the procession begins. Because when you learn what you are supposed to learn through the trials, this is why you don't want to take the shortcut from the trials. See, those are teachable moments. Those moments are rich with opportunity to learn and to make you worthy of the stuff you've been praying for. You don't have it yet because you don't have the mindset to experience it yet. It's not that you're not worthy. It's that you don't have the mind for it. It's not that God doesn't love you. It's that you don't have a mind to love yourself enough to attract what you say you want. And so it's a mind thing. It's a mind thing. And so Jesus is trying to show us how to get the mindset that helps you know how to get the most from the trial. If you leave with nothing else today, just when you're going through the trial, just make sure you are learning something from the trial. Because listen, there is an opportunity to go through the day and there's an opportunity to get from the day. And I just want to encourage you to get from the day. Don't go through a single day without you getting what you are supposed to get from that day. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Get something from the day. Get something from the day. There are patterns to success. Success always leaves clues. So pay attention to the master because he's giving you the clue. Or we can just celebrate how great it was when he did it. And stay with minds that are confused, relationships that are broken, pocketbooks that are empty, jobs that are unfulfilling, businesses that are failing, neighborhoods that are searching. All of those are options. But when you understand what the trial is for, when you maximize the opportunity of the difficulty, and when you apply the truth, it makes you worthy of the triumph. So nobody can tell you that you don't deserve to be victorious. Don't let anybody tell you you don't deserve to be beautiful. Don't let anybody try to convince you you don't deserve to be loved. Don't let anybody tell you you don't deserve to be prospered. Don't let anybody try to convince you you don't deserve to be lifted up.
Don't let anybody try to tell you you don't deserve to be successful. God gave it to you. Behold, I came that you might have life and have it more abundantly. The only question is, will you accept your triumph? God bless you.